Hello and welcome to this video on Japanese building ideas. Today we are looking at some garden designs, but first some housekeeping. I forgot to do this in the previous video. I have a Discord server if you would like to join that and come and chat about all things art and Minecraft, and I am also on Patreon, so if you would like to support me in that way then you can. The links will be in the description. But let's get on with the video. Instead of being a build by build tutorial, this is more of an ideas tutorial, and what I did was I got 4 pictures from Google of different types of Japanese gardens and I just recreated them in Minecraft, but hopefully you will find some little ideas to take away with you. Now, generally Japanese gardens to me are either very naturalistic like this one, or very minimalistic like the Zen gardens. So I've got a little bit of a mix of those different styles. So on this one, it's a dry riverbed. So a lot of Japanese gardens, what they do is instead of actually having water in, they will use like stones and pebbles to mimic a little river. So this is what we've got here with the granite. This picture had like a darker slate pebbles on the side, so I've used the basalt and the black stone, which I really like as a different texture to the riverbed, so it's not all very grey. And I've mixed some of the smooth slabs in as well for like lighter coloured rocks. Now I really like these trees. A lot of Japanese gardens will have maybe the acers, the Japanese maples, and they have got red leaves. And obviously we don't have red leaves unless you have Jermsy Boy's texture pack, which I've got the better leaves, but they don't do the dark oak in the red. So I have used netherrack, netherwort, and some red stained glass and blocks and panes, and I think this is really good use of the red nether wart because on the obsidian order I am using a lot of the crimson stem and the crimson planks, and you get so much of the wart that you just don't know what to do with it. So I've used it sparingly here, but I think they actually look really good for trees that aren't using the leaf block. Sometimes they can look a bit odd. And then the planting here is very minimalistic. So we've just literally got some ferns, the tall and the short ones, and then some leaves dotted around. And then I don't do this very often, but I felt that this needed some pebbles, some smaller pebbles, so I have used buttons about the place to represent those. The peaceful calm of a simple Zen garden. I really love this. It's tranquil, it's peaceful, it's kind of modern, and I like it. I was going to use the gravel because obviously these are like gravel beds that they do and they rake them, which is part of the ethos of a Zen garden. It's the actual being in the garden and raking the different shapes that's kind of meditative. Thought the gravel would be a little bit too grey, especially in contrast with the rocks. So I decided to go with sand. This picture actually that I replicated here did have fairly light covered gravel, so I felt like it fitted well here. And the other thing I have done is I have used some upside down sandstone stairs, easy for me to say, to represent the swirls of the raking and obviously the up and down of the raking here. So that kind of breaks up the sand as well. So I wouldn't have been able to do that with gravel because, well, unless I used andesite, I suppose. But really simple. They tend to have kind of flat rocks. Again, it's mimicking the landscape. So like rocks for hills, and then we have this tree which I do rather like. And I had used carpet on the ground to kind of represent the kind of the mossiness of low growing plants, but then I have put the leaves under. Obviously my Germ Sees Better leaves does have the little bit that sticks up, but I think it would probably work in vanilla as well. Garden number 3 is lovely and shady in the dappled shade, quite mossy, so I've used some mossy cobblestone here because it is so shady and lush and green. So that's why I've used some green carpet on here just to represent the darker bits of this, the brown mushroom block for the back wall, and then this picture had some kind of wooden fencing, so I've used some spruce trapdoors and then just brought one bit out a little bit for a little bit of texture there. Again, little rock formations. This is kind of rock stepping stones to wander through the shadiness. The trees almost meet, and then this is one of the little kind of, oh, I did look this up, the shikokus, I think. No, it's a little tora, I think. This is the lodestone, and previously I've done this with a chiseled block, but I think that looks really nice just as a little decorative. I think there's supposed to be lanterns in the Japanese gardens, but I've got a skeleton head on top as well, so don't look at it from the other side. I'm going to introduce it from here. The final garden is, I was going to say one of my favourites, but I actually like them all, is a water garden. Yeah, I'm going to address it straight away. I absolutely love these. I was thinking, how do I get water lilies on? I know there are packs where the lily pads occasionally spawn with a little flower on, but I have used a dark prismarine slab just floating in the top because it has to be waterlogged to keep the fan alive, and then coral fans on. I can't believe how well it's worked out. I love it. I've surrounded them by lily pads so that you don't notice the dark prismarine as much, but I think it goes really well because the dark prismarine is almost as dark as the lily pad. And then you might notice, because when you look at these pools, or pools in any garden, never mind just Japanese gardens, the water is really, really dark and almost looks like a black reflective pool. So I have lined the bottom of this with coal blocks. I did try Blackstone and I liked it, but I thought that this worked a little bit better, so it gives a tiny bit of texture but not too much. And then I decided to mix, because I need a lot of stones, mix some sandstone. Why are all the koi around there? I used some sandstone as an alternative for some of the rocks. Again, there's not a lot of different textures, especially with the slabs and the stairs, which I've used a lot of here because I do have quite a lot of just flat rocks around the edges of a pond. And then the trees, so this one's kind of, the front one's kind of arching over that way, and I've used actually black stone wall for the trunk of that one because it was really, really quite dark, and I like the way that a little bit is peeking out there. And then yes, of course, put the salmon in because they look most like koi carp. There's a little natural stone bridge that goes over this little bit. That could be a river that goes further into the garden. That's the 4 design ideas that I have come up with for you with the Japanese gardens. I hope that you can take something from those and get some ideas. I think the main things to take from it is simplicity. So don't use too many different materials. They don't tend to have lots of different coloured flowers. Minimalistic, green, and simple, and you won't go wrong. I just had to bring you back in shaders. These look absolutely gorgeous. Those trees look nice. It's a shame that my shadow is in the way, but look at that. Who would not want to be looking out on that? Doing your little meditation, thinking about what you needed to do for the day. The shaders on this one with the sun in that direction really show how shady this is. And that is exactly the look that I was going for. This is the first time I've seen this one in shaders. That is perfect. Even if I do say so myself and my shadow is in the way. I love the water with the dark base of the pond. I think that's worked really, really well. Beautiful. I feel like I'm at the Chelsea Flower Show and I'm in the garden. Of course, no Japanese garden would be complete without a little Japanese tea house or building. So for ideas for those, go and check my playlist, which will be in the corner and in the comments. If you've enjoyed this and you'd like to see more content about Japanese building or building tips and tricks in Minecraft, then hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified. Leave a like and a comment, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye!